So how do we solve the communication challenge in 2019? Well, we have so many media sources and possibilities. Facebook, GroupMe, Slack, WhatsApp, WeChat, the Google Classroom, Skype, Periscope, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, Google Calendar, so many different ways of trying to organize things, so many different logins. Well, I just use my Facebook login. Not everybody has Facebook, surprisingly. Google Docs. Google Docs are great. We're using one for this presentation, but the reality is they just don't always work right. And you saw a prime example of that just getting things set up today, right? Box for storing information. The internet, just going to web pages. Email. How many of you have sent out emails? How many of you have sent out emails and it was like crickets? Like, it's either crickets or you get that one that goes, but what is this? What is this? What is this? Because you're trying to give an email that covers all your bases. And they're like, they got into the first 140 characters. They're like, man, I'm exhausted. They can't read past 140 characters, especially kids today. Their attention span is about the size of a pregnant ant. They just can't do it. They're used to shutting information off. So the more we can tap into their ability to comprehend what we do in short microbursts, that we will gain their attention, and you will find that they will actually pull the information you need when you need it. And then phones. This one is a dangerous one today. When we were all kids, we didn't have cell phones. This is that I walked through the snow both directions uphill school story, right? And we didn't have cell phones. And so we couldn't get in trouble. Like if you called somebody back then, my background's in wireless communications. So if you called somebody back then, a phone number meant a destination, whereas today a number designates an individual. And as directors and people who are responsible for minors, one of the challenges we need to be wary of is what phone numbers we have and what communication we're doing on our personal devices. And that's a scary road. We're not going to get into that. But the reality is we have to find ways to still communicate with them and give direct access to you for help while we can still protect ourselves and our members. And so the app that we ended up using this year with Vanguard Cadets, we implemented it fully from the staff down. We did not change Vanguard Music and Performing Arts internal communications, which is a plethora of multiple products, but which band actually covers a lot of those, because it covers a lot of these things that we're talking about here. But it has been absolutely flawless. However, I put the time in ahead of time to understand what it does, how it works. I've been working with them, because of my wireless background and doing some of the development stuff in the past. I was able to send them stuff to fix and little diagrams of how to do it, and that kind of helped. And I'll tell you, 3 years ago when I first looked at the application, I think I saw it come across Twitter or something. It's the only social media I have. Okay, because I can shut people off. I have that attention span. It's that ADD issue I have. And so I saw it come across social media at some point, and I thought, what is that? So I pulled it up, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool, but not. I was like, that has great potential, but the energy is not there yet. You still don't have the ability to communicate correctly. And then last year this time, I ended up noticing that one of the other drum corps in DCI had started using it for their volunteers. I went, oh. So I saw their website, I reached out to them, said, how are you using it? And it forced me to open it back up, download it again, and take a look at what it was. So as I played with it, now I used to do QA stuff. I was on a global roundtable for Nokia before they sold to Microsoft. So they send me all this stuff, and I was just supposed to break it. And so I started looking at it, I go, wow, this has really come along. It's kind of like for those of you who have kids, when you're like just frustrated, you're going, man, why are you doing that? Or even our kids in our bands, we're going, why would you make such a decision like that? And then there's this like flip, like one day they wake up and the frontal lobe reappears. And you're like, wow, you turn out pretty good now all of a sudden. What happened? Did you eat some cereal or what's going on? And so that's what ended up happening. Band covers many of these different parts. I've found that there is no one perfect way. And it's just a matter of, can we minimize how many products we have to use to eliminate the confusion of what products for what? Are we signing up on this one? Are we checking in on this one? Are we doing inventory on this one? There's just all the different plethora of stuff out there.